Hey everyone, so Prime Gaming shocked us this month of June, giving us 6 games actually for this. So I was kind of shocked about that, so we're going to get started with them. So overall, 4 of the games I felt like were actually themed. It's been a while since we got games that were like a following theme, and it kind of seemed like it was like friendship was the theme here, our relationships along those lines. So the first game we had is BFF or Die, which came out in 2020. There was no Metacritic review for this, and you'll hear a couple of games this time around that didn't really have reviews on Metacritic, but you're looking at $8 if you bought this normally. You're looking at 3 hours of gameplay, and this is what is the couch co-op puzzle again, which I do enjoy these games when you do have a couple friends, but this game seemed to lack on the single player for this. You have 4 weird alien-looking characters to choose from, and basically how it works is you have a runner and someone that controls the gadgets. If you have more than 2 people, it looks like they're all runners. And you solve puzzles relying on the gadgets to either show a light for the path, have a claw to kind of pick up people, get remote control things to put on the mommies. So it was interesting on that aspect and added a lot to the game. And I actually did enjoy the puzzles. They made you think, nothing too complicated. You got upgrades to kind of mess with new gadgets, so kind of keep bringing the puzzles to life each time. And for what this game was, I would recommend a download. I really did enjoy this. I was playing single player, so you did control the guy in the gadget and the runner at the same time. You used the left thumbstick and the right thumbstick. So that made it fun, but it would be a lot funner, which I would recommend if you have more people. The negative here, it is a couch-only game, and then I did feel by myself it was lacking a little bit. I still enjoyed myself, but I could see if I had friends over to play this, it would be more fun. Next up, we have Newfound Courage, which came out in 2019. You're looking at about like $9 if you would have bought this on Steam, and 2 hours of gameplay. Again, no Metacritic rating for this game either. And I would consider this a old school point and click game. It's not really the stylish point and click. You have to interact with it, and they recommend playing with a mouse instead of a controller, and I can see certain sections why, but I felt like it was just an old school movie game. You're not really doing too much. There's little puzzles here and there to solve, but you're kind of just continuing the story, which you play as Alex that's living in Silver Pine, working to kind of figure out what's going on with this vault with books and these, I don't know if you call them creatures, but these things in hoods that are running around trying to figure this out. And the overall theme of this has to do with memories and friendship. So you make a friend named Jack that you start liking, and your character does have some internal conflicts. So you get about 5 characters in the town, and then 2 people in the vault you learn about. So the characters are contained for this 2-hour game, but you do get connections with everyone, and it was cool to kind of talk to everybody. It was old school, and I do like my old school games, so I thought the graphics were pretty cool. There was weird controls, and as you can tell, I kind of struggled to say if this was a point and click, if it was really like just an old school RPG or a movie game. And the weird part to me was trying to walk diagonally. Like if you hit 2 buttons on the keyboard, it took a while before the second one would trigger. So if I wanted to walk like diagonal up, it would take, I would go up and then slowly start moving to the right. So it wasn't the best controls, but I think here you're just in for the story. And if you're looking for a decent story for 2 hours, I'd say download this game. I enjoyed the characters. The story was kind of cool. The con here is not much action at all. Like I said, it's more point and click and solving little puzzles. Lost in Harmony came out in 2018 and had a Metacritic score of 63, our first Metacritic score of a game. And you're looking at about $7 if you would have bought this on Steam, and 2 hours of gameplay for the story. And this is a musical runner. So the story here is there's a girl that's having some health issues, and you kind of dream of like old times with the girl. So like some of the memories you had. So that's kind of where the levels take place. And the story was like, short. You kind of went through it through a cell phone messages. It didn't really grab me too much. It just kind of moved from each level and kind of explained why you were in like a forest and stuff like that. So it wasn't too big into the game, but there was a story. And at first, it's very confusing to play. I couldn't find any control settings or anything or describing the game. The first level is just figuring out what's happening. So you have this like Crash Bandicoot style game, and you're kind of dodging things. Then all of a sudden you have musical notes popping up at the top. So it's a little just jarring at first and trying to figure out what's happening. And the graphics are okay. It was a different style that I didn't see, and it wasn't too bad for the game. I do hate the Crash Bandicoot style view. I just never liked that. But for this game, things come behind you, so it's more just dodging those. So it made sense, but it's just a weird style. And it's not bad once I started learning the controls. And then figuring out, I was kind of more inclined to play the game and was able to do a lot more. There were songs in there that were from like very, very old. You would recognize a piano song, so I'm assuming it was copyright easier to get those. That was kind of cool, but overall, I would say not. The pro here would be if you're kind of looking for a different music game that kind of takes a different approach, this will be here. The cons here is just it's not crazy visually pleasing. The camera was weird, and just learning how to play was a little odd, and then it just didn't gravitate to me, but I wasn't looking for a change in music rhythm games. So now we have Batman, the Telltale Games series version, which came out in 2016. It's been a while. I didn't realize it was that long. We're looking at a Metacritic score of 68, $15, and since it's 5 episodes in this package, it's about 10 hours. Each episode will be 2 hours. If you're not familiar, Telltale Games usually came out as episodes once around every couple weeks or so. And usually there were 5 series, five chapters in each of the series. And this is a movie game. If you never played them, it's kind of watching the movie, and your actions affect the story, which I always found was really cool. But don't expect moving. It's going to be a lot of hitting buttons and trying to pick dialogue relatively fast. So it's a nice couch game to kind of lay back and enjoy the story. Good graphics. I always liked how the Telltale games look with the like cell shading a little bit. This one did start out dark really fast. The bad guys enter this vault to take a hard drive, and there's like blood instantly in the game. So a little of the dark Batman here, which is cool. I like Batman. Usually I like the Batman bad guys a lot, so it's always cool to do a Batman game. And that just makes it for me. I don't have much else to say about the story there. And I'm a huge Telltale fan. I love these games. I did get burnt out when they were coming out. I felt like every month it felt like ones were coming out. But I do miss them making games. And I really enjoyed playing this one. There is a Shadows edition that comes with this version, which just gives you the like SimCity noir style. So like red shows up, but everything's in black and white. I didn't find it that interesting to do the mode that way. As you're seeing here, it just, I don't know, I kind of just like normal colors. So I didn't find that special, but maybe some people would find that interesting. But as I talked about it, I didn't have too much to say, except download it. It's the pro here. It's a Telltale game. You're going to enjoy just having something to sit on the couch and just kind of watch a movie and interact. This is what you want. The con here is just you don't find these as video games. I know some people do hate this movie style game, so obviously there's not going to be much controls or running around, so you will not like this. Second to last game is Mugsters, which came out in 2018. Metacritic score 75, a lot higher than some of the games we've seen today, and $15. The length, I couldn't really find a full length, and I didn't track it. This is a quote-unquote adventure, but more of a physics game. And I reviewed this in March 2020. So this is just the poly physics looking game. I feel like most physics game have this poly look because they're working a lot more on the physics side of it than probably the looks. But usually these look cool, so I didn't mind the game. Each island here you go to, you have 3 items to do. It's always 2 of them are pretty much the same, of finding crystals and saving people. Then you always get a 3rd one of like taking out satellites or doing something a little different. So that was on each of the levels, and you kind of just played around with cars, throwing around rocks, barrels, interacting with bad guys. But overall, after a while, it just didn't feel like the missions were doing anything, because 2 of them were always the same. And the goal is like to fill up these roller coasters with the people you collect. So after a while, you just get bored to me. I didn't find anything else that was exciting, and just the cool physics wore off on me. The puzzles just weren't keeping my interest because I just felt like I was kind of just going to different islands and not much was changing. So I would say not a download still after playing this the 2nd time. The pros here is it's a physics game. You'll like that. Interacting with the cars is kind of cool. The con here, it just gets old quick, and if you hate repetitiveness, this is probably going to be a no-go for you as well. Lastly, we have Spitkiss, which came out in 2018. No Metacritic score review, looking at $3 if you bought this normal for 2 hours of gameplay. And this is a puzzle game that's basically you have a character that likes their neighbor, and then you have the love arrows hit them and kind of go through the levels that way, and you get introduced to characters falling in love with each other. To control a spit, basically, it looks like a blob, but I guess by the name Spitkiss, it's supposed to be spit. And the goal is to get from one character to the next. And the levels change. At first, you just realize the blob sticks to walls. Then you get bouncy walls. Then walls that open up gates. And then you start getting bad guys. So the puzzles kept evolving. The annoying part of this was it's a mobile game. And the screen was set up to mobile, where on PC, it filtered with just a background. So you're playing this mobile style game very small. So as you see here, the view of the game is not too great on PC. I think if I had it on the phone, I would enjoy it a lot more. That being said, I enjoyed the puzzles a lot, and I feel like they were influenced by a lot of games that weren't necessarily puzzle games. So I always think of Celeste when I was collecting these little orbs that allowed me to jump again in the air. I felt like it was like the dash mechanic where you could get another dash to move up higher. So I felt like it was kind of that with the walls and all. And there's the other remnants of games as well, but I felt like it was kind of inspired there, but took it into a puzzle route. Even though I guess Celeste was kind of a puzzle platformer, but that was kind of cool, and that made me enjoy everything. I was having fun with this game. The story, it moved along. I wasn't really excited by it. I noticed it's this comic style, but I was eventually just flipping through them at the end to just kind of get to the puzzles. And I would say it's a download. It's a very cool puzzle game, and it won't take you too long to beat. So that's the big pro. The con, if you get it on the PC from this Prime Gaming, the screen ratio is very annoying. It reminded me of like a lot of the old school ship shooters you would play like on the PlayStation that still had the elongated view of the portrait mode. So that was June. It was cool to get 6 games. We had a couple games I didn't care for, but overall I thought it was a pretty good month, including the 6 games that I was still shocked they gave us. Wondering if they're going to continue it to July. I do like the themes they were starting to bring back again. Only 4 of the games I felt like kind of fit the theme, but I do like when we were getting games like that. Obviously, October we used to get like the horror games, but I kind of just like having games with the same theme and kind of seeing different takes on it. So that's all I have. Let me know in the comments if you enjoy any of the games or disagree with a lot of my ratings. I'd like to hear why you thought the game was a download where I said not, or you might dislike the game. I'm just always curious on that. So anyways, that's all I have. Peace.